Hey guys, Brandon here with All About DIY. We got another how-to video coming at you. This one is about this little guy right here. This is called a Fluval C4. This is a really awesome hang-on-the-back filter. Been around for probably 10 years or so. I have probably about 7 of them. I love them. I think they work great. I've never had a problem with a single one of them. I mean, this one right here is a little bit dirty. It's been in service for the past 6 years since I've had her, 7 years or so. It's kind of dirty right now. I didn't clean it up like a pro because I need to get it back in service. I had this thing actually suck up a big wad of Java moss in one of my tanks, so clogged it up, had to clean it while I was there. So yeah, that's where we're at, and that's what prompted this video. So anyways, in this video I'm going to show you how to take this apart, how I clean it, how to put it back together, and you know, what it costs to run, maintain, all that kind of stuff. How long between, you know, cleanings, if you got a pretty clean tank and you're, you know, you keep keeping stuff out of your, you know, your filter strainer right here, your intake strainer. You know, you're not, you don't have a bunch of big fish using it. I mean, that's gonna, you know, cut down on the amount of time between having to service it. There's actually a little service indicator on top of this last tray here that actually floats to the top when the filter starts to back up. I feel like it comes on a little bit premature. After this pops up, I like to let it run for a little bit longer than what it says. But as long as you got a good flow coming out, you shouldn't have to worry about it, you know. So keep that in mind also. So anyways, we'll just dive right into it. First, you're gonna take off the lid that they provide. It's kind of like a tinted gray plastic. It looks nice. I think it's meant to cut down on algae. Works good. The whole outer shell is actually made out of that same stuff. So you're gonna want to take that off. This top plate for the wet dried trickle portion of this filter comes off that little lever right there. It's got this little, you know, foam pad right here that's meant to filter out debris when you know, it's cascading over the top and trickling down into the trickle chamber. I feel like it gets clogged kind of fast, so on some of them I don't use it. Some of them I do. This one I do. It's got little holes in it where the water trickles through, as you can see right here. So take that off. Here is the wet dried trickle tray, as we're gonna call it, with the, you know, ceramic media in here. This media is meant for the colonization of beneficial bacteria, and the more oxygen that they get, the better off they are, and the better job they do of clearing out ammonia and nitrates and stuff like that. So that's why, you know, the wet dry trickle is awesome, and that's another great feature about this filter. So there's that. Also, the next compartment is this little fella right here, and this is you know, what I call the chemical tray. I put bio balls in here just to, you know, give the bacteria a little bit more place to grow and all of that. I also run carbon in this section, you know, ammonia sorb, any kind of you know, chemical filtration. Make sure you keep it in a bag like this, nice and sealed, so you don't get little chunks of carbon flying around, because you could suck it up in the impeller and break your impeller, and you don't want to do that. I promise you that. So there's that. And let's see, here's the intake tube. It comes right out the top. It's got an adjustable tube at the bottom, so you can reach way down in those deep tanks if you want, or you know, it's pretty far. So, or you can do, you know, a nice shallow tank if you got that. So that works nice. You got to be careful with these little fingers right here. They tend to break once they get a little bit older, if they've been exposed to sunlight or sitting or dry or, you know, whatever. So just be careful with that. Another thing I don't really like about this, but I suppose it has to be this way, is this part's sealed up here so that it can create suction. But it's hard to get the debris and the, you know, the detritus and the algae and stuff that gets stuck in here, so I kind of find that annoying. You can use pipe cleaners to get it out. That works pretty well. So there's that intake tube. Next is the mechanical filtration tray. I like to use my own pads that I make. I get a microfiber cloth and put that around some of that blue and white filter foam, and then I just kind of melt the edges together, and it makes a nice pad preformed, and I just, you know, you can use this over and over and over again. It works great. So I like that a lot, so I use that, and that works good for me. And then here is your, let's just call this the fountain piece. Your motor plugs into the bottom of here. That's where your impeller goes, and your pickup tube goes on top of there. This sucks in water from this portion of it and expels it out the waterfall there, and that's what dumps over your trickle tray, and that's what basically makes the wet dry trickle portion of this filter happen. So we got that, and last but not least, the motor. You're just gonna have to twist that out about 90 degrees, and it comes right out. It's got an O-ring seal, so make sure not to damage that. And then you can just pull the impeller right out of it. I make sure all the stuff is really clean. That's what these little Q-tips are for. You just run them down in here, make sure your propeller shaft is good, nice and clean. Make sure all the the propeller cavity down there on this magnet drive engine is nice and clean. Make sure your magnet's clean, and of course your impeller. Make sure that's nice and clean when you put it back together, and it just slides right back into place when you're ready to go. So there, that's it. And here's the empty shell, and then you just got your this is a little, I just call it the legs on it, and basically what that does is when you hang this on your aquarium, certain aquariums have a different thickness of the lip on top, and so you don't want this thing hanging at weird angles. So what you do is you rotate this around, and it'll actually level this filter out to get the proper function out of it. So you're gonna have to mess with that if you guys get one. If you already have one, you already know what all this stuff is about and the ease of cleaning and the pros and cons and stuff like that. But I like this filter because it has many different stages of filtration. I mean, you can do mechanical, you can do chemical, you got the wet dry trickle chamber, you got your biological, all throughout this thing. It's powerful. I think this does up to 75-gallon tank by itself. I usually couple these up. I buy two if I'm running it on a 75 or higher. I think they work great. They clear up the water really quick. They do a really good job. They stay in service for a long time before they need cleaning. I think these things are about, I haven't bought one in a while, but they're about 60 bucks, 70 bucks online. You can check that out. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I mean, for that price, you can't really beat it. This is a great filter. Some people say they have problems with Fluval customer service. I actually never had to call them because I've never had a problem with any of mine, and I own probably 6 or 7 of these things. So yeah, there's that. And it's just all in all, I give it a 2 thumbs up. It's a great filter. I recommend it to anyone who wants an easy to use, easy to clean, hang on the back filter that just rocks. I like this thing a lot. So there's my opinion on it. You may have a different one. If you do, or if you have had problems with it, let me know in the comments below. I'd like to hear about them because I haven't had a single problem with one of these. So anyways, yeah, so let's get to the assembly. So once you've got your impeller back in your motor, you just put this thing in until it clicks, and then snap it over. And then you'll notice there's a stop on the back of here and an arrow on the motor telling you how to, remove it and put it back on. So you just twist it till it stops, and then you're good. Make sure your O-ring's nice and sealed in there. And then next, what you're going to do is you're going to put back your waterfall device here. And there's a little channel that it goes into, and you can actually get this wrong. And if you get it wrong, you won't be able to put the rest of it back together. So make sure it's in its respected grooves right here. You'll know because it'll be tight to fit in. If at any point you're putting this filter back together and you have to force it, it's wrong. So don't break anything. It's not worth it. So there's that. Take your time. All right, next we're gonna put our pad back in our mechanical tray here. Make sure it's in there nice and straight, like so, and then we will take it and slide it back down in there just like that. It should click in nice and easy. Pickup tube, slide it down from the top, make sure it's in its groove on your little waterfall piece there. You can see down through the bottom if it is or isn't. I like to leave it in the middle. You get a little bit of adjustability on flow here. You can see that on the lid actually. Next compartment is the chemical filtration compartment. So let's wrap back up our carbon here, slide it back down in here. That's where my bio balls go. We'll just put those bad boys on the top there. You got to make sure that when you're filling this compartment that you don't let whatever you're putting in here get above this line, or you will not be able to get your trickle tray back in. Just note on that. And then this, put it all the way against your mechanical tray and just slide it straight down. It should look just like that when you're done. All right, so next we're gonna do our trickle tray here. Just make sure these are nice and clean. Make sure you're not sticking up above here either, because you won't be able to get your lid back on. So this has a little, a little groove here and a little groove there, and they're supposed to stick it in there and then drop straight down. which I believe, yeah, there we go. And it should lock in, and then you won't be able to move it. So that's so you know you're in there. And then we'll put your lid on. It also clicks in. There we go, we're snapped in. Your little filter pad that goes on the top, which I believe to be optional. Put that bad boy on there. And then finally, your lid. And you're complete. This is set up and ready to go. What I like to do is I like to put this on the tank, adjust your pickup tube to where you need it, and then you take the lid back off and you fill the top of here with water, and it's gonna rise up to, you know, about here until it starts coming out the output. So when you got water, when you're dumping it in here and it comes out here, you know you're full, and then the filter, it'll have a lot easier time priming itself, because if you don't do this, if you don't pre-fill it, I feel like it just works too hard trying to get the suction going and get water into the filter. So, you know, be easy on your equipment if you can. It'll save it and it'll be good for it in the long run. So yeah, so that's pretty much a Fluval C4 ins and outs. I love this filter. I recommend it to everyone. Like I said, if you've had problems with it, let me know, because I haven't had a single one. And yeah, plug it in, let it rip, and then, you know, just keep servicing it. This little tab will pop up and you'll know, and then just, you know, if your flow's getting clogged, clean it then. So anyways, let me know what you guys think. I hope this was helpful. Please like and subscribe. That's awesome. I appreciate the views and the likes and all that stuff. So you guys have a good night. Later.